Hello everyone, this is Mark Peterson with The Frog Outside the Well, and you can see I'm with my favorite guest, my mentor on YouTube, Chad. Hi Chad, and we're going to do a clip on his channel, watching the movie, and then we're going to talk right here about some of the cultural underpinnings that I see and I want to talk about. Okay, so let's do it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that just because for me it helps me kind of learn what's going on.
And you like to learn these Korean things.
I do.
Because you were the best student I ever had.
The best number. Yeah. Hopefully none of your other former students watch this and they're like,
no,
I know this guy from classes and he wasn't a good student.
No, you were great. Okay, let's do it. Well, welcome back. We did our intro, and now we're going to talk about the cultural underpinnings of the movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, go back and look at Chad's first movie about this. But the cultural things, there are several things that I thought were really, really interesting about this movie.
Okay.
I thought it was generally faithful to the history.
Okay.
There were a little bit of dramatics. And,
yes.
The turtle boat that was such a big ramming thing is probably not the case at all.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that the turtle boats all ended up at the bottom of the sea, and we don't have any of them because that's a muddy sea from the centuries of mud that have blown into the sea, that the turtle boats are all out there buried.
So they're just buried.
Yeah, in the mud of the
It'd be interesting if one day,
I think they'll find one day.
That would be incredible.
But it has to be an undersea excavation archaeology, and how do you find the thing? So, but it has a metal cover on it. Maybe some deep metal detector could find the thing. But that would be super. But the key thing is that Lee Sun-shin was a strategic genius.
Yes.
And really, I like this movie the way it glorified Lee Sun-shin, because you cannot over-glorify Lee Sun-shin. Mm-hmm. He was really a spectacular military genius in the history of the world. Admiral Lord Nelson and the British is compared to him all the time. So in world history, Lee Sun-shin was really a significant figure. I liked the way the movie featured historical names of commanders on the land, of the different commanders of the Korean forces. Mm-hmm. And that was really interesting because a lot of those forces were military men like Lee Sun-shin, but others were civilian. Uh-huh. There were a lot of civilian leaders who turned into generals on the ground, and colonels and captains. Mm-hmm. And it's the idea of the Yangban, the two sides, the military mm-hmm. side and the civilian side. And they both came together as military during the war. The commanders were civilian as well as military. Mm-hmm. In fact, in Korean history, some of the most famous commanders were civilians.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Kang Gam-chan in the middle of the Koryo mm-hmm. battles against the Khitans, he was a civilian.
Wow.
And Lee Gyu-bo, who fought against the Myochang rebellion, he was a civilian. Hmm. So they used a lot of civilian officers in the military as well. So that's an interesting part of the story. Let's see, what else I want to say about it. What questions of history do you have on it, or cultural accuracy?
I guess questions on situations where like we have spies over there.
Yeah.
Right. So
that was really interesting. Yeah, that's one thing I want to comment on, is that there were spies and turncoats, people that went over to the other side. I don't know of any Koreans that went over to the Japanese side, mm-hmm. but there were Koreans that were captured and hauled off. Yeah. The movie confused me a little because in Busan they had built a Japanese fortress. I don't know if that's historically accurate or not, to have a full scale. They had Japanese fortresses, but they were just stone fortresses, not without a big, not with a big castle in the middle.
Interesting.
An Osaka castle kind of thing. So I think that was inaccurate. Okay. But there are fortresses, and they stretch from Ulsan all the way over to Jinju.
Wow.
And they're still there. These wall fortresses, they're overgrown. Mm-hmm. People ignore them. In Ulsan, they've reconstituted it to make it a historical site.
Oh, okay.
But you can imagine the Koreans don't want to have a historical site of a Japanese fortress on their ground. But they did do it in Ulsan. Mm-hmm. And in a couple of other places. I've visited most of them along there. Hmm. There's one right in the center of Busan.
Wow.
And you don't know it 'cause it's surrounded by traffic, and you don't know that in 1592, 400 years ago, it was a major fortress. And they were connected by signal fires.
Gotcha.
So they could set signal fires. If the Koreans attacked one of them, they could send aid in. And so they had a signal fire system. The Koreans, of course, had a signal fire system all up and down the peninsula. Before they could get word out as to what kind of thing it was, they could set off the fire. And they put agents in the smoke to make a blue smoke and a green smoke and a red smoke and a yellow smoke, each signifying different things. So that was interesting. North of Daegu, there's a shrine to a Japanese commander, samurai. I don't know that he was a general, but I think one of the lower level commanders, who turned and took his whole force over to fight with the Koreans.
Wow.
And the shrine is there to him, and he was given the name of Kim, and given the Pongwan of Kimhae. Yeah, so he just fit right in.
Yeah.
I would hope that they would have given him a unique name and a unique Pongwan, but that doesn't work in Korea.
Yeah.
He's one of the Kimhae Kim. So that's really interesting. And for a second there, I thought that the girl in the movie was going to be Nongae.
It was kind of leading up to that.
Yeah.
And maybe, that's one thing I would guess is that's probably not historically accurate. That exact
that kind
happening.
of thing. Yeah.
But
for a woman to fight for Korea in the way she could. For those that don't know the story of Nongae, just briefly, she was a Kisang captured, like you see in here, and forced to serve the Japanese. And she said to the Japanese general, after one of the drinking parties, and people were relaxed a little bit at evening time, there's a pointing to the moon pavilion there, pointing to the moon, which means she couldn't speak with him. But she says, well, let's go out and look at the moon. And she takes him out on a cliff overlooking the river, grabs him and throws him into the river, and they both die.
Yeah.
But this woman I thought might be Nongae, but she was symbolic of Nongae.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought, is maybe it's just a little bit of a tribute to women like that who did fight.
Who shows up in Squid Game too, by the way.
Oh yeah?
Nongae.
Oh yes.
On the bridge sequence, that one woman who sacrifices her life to get rid of the rotten guy, the worst guy in the movie so far, But those are some of the cultural things, Korean cultural things that underpin that our viewers might be interested in.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I think it was really interesting from like a cultural point of view. And from a historical point of view, so it's always fun to learn a little bit more about that.
So that was fun. So look at Chad's if you haven't. Thanks for watching mine, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.